It's random. Well, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel. Now, have you ever made your own random encounter table? That would actually play into your storylines. Show us on Mega Man where it touched you. Where it touched you. Let's see. With me, what I'll do, I'll use the random table for the first couple of fights, just for the simple fact of number one, kind of like what Bruce said, for because I can add some flavor stuff in there. The other thing that I'll do is I'll also use it so they can actually kind of learn how to, because it could be players who haven't played together before, to kind of learn how to function as a cohesive unit, and also their characters what can play off of each other. He hates the player. He hates the player, not the game. Yes. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay. Or will it? Hmm. Well, I, I'm going to bring this up. Now, it depends on the GM. He may use a random encounter, but you brought up an entire thing in your rant that where oh well, you found a holy avenger and +4 armor. The GM can actually take that random loot, and guess what? Now you have a side quest. You have to return the holy avenger and that suit back to the church. I mean, in truthfully, and that's a real boom. Wait. Those lizards, do they all go woo? No, they have to go woo. I'm sorry. Yeah. Woo! Oh.
second and thirds. So that's how we're going to do our watch rotations. And that's literally how gaming works. And I'm just like, oh, fuck this. Okay, cool. Thank God for Magic. And I fucking hate. I fucking hate how magic is literally the answer to all problems, and which predicates the we need to have random encounters to keep things interesting while we travel. Which ultimately just evolves down to wizard cast teleport. We bypass all the bullshit because we're tired of it.
Ugh, God, Blaine, what the fuck did you eat? All you've done is complain. You're rolling the D100s on that random encounter chart again.
Ah,
Dude, like,
I have
not
not had a
everybody
good.
can afford teleport, first off. That is an expensive spell in some canon campaigns, in some settings. In some games, you don't have the ability to teleport. So you have
Nope.
to make a 7.5 week trip cross continent on a donkey that shits and eats
Mm-hmm.
and has an honoriness score. And every day you got to scold your donkey and get him to march the direction you want to go and haul your bags, because otherwise you have a loose donkey and all your shit's with the donkey. Have fun
Yep.
going to get your donkey. Now the thing
Yeah.
is that your random encounter complaints, you have played and you've given too many bad GMs your precious time.
Yeah.
You have. And
I have.
I'm not gonna say that you're a bad GM, because you're a great GM when you get the chance to play. Which, once people find out who you are, oh, you're that Blaine. You're gonna play a game. You're gonna run it
Yeah.
for us, and therefore you lose whatever fun you might have had as a player. I'm sorry, dude, but you run a very good system, and you're complaining about other GM's shortfalls. And earlier you asked, what do you do? Do you just like let them play and let them get better, or do you take the reins? Well, I took the reins at like age 16, age
Never look.
14 for Star Wars. I never have really looked back.
Nope.
And it's benefited my players that do play with me. They enjoy the games. There's a lot of people I know that they would rather not play my games because my games are hard, or they just feel like the game is very taxing and it's emotionally draining, and they don't get a lot of levels or experience points or magic items or magical what's its to do the shit they want to do when Tumblr says post your favorite part of your D&D campaign. And
Yeah.
they're like that part where I almost died, and the GM gave me almost enough experience points for me to level, and I needed 3 more sessions to level. And,
Yeah.
and I feel sorry for those guys, but dude, you have to show players that are wanting to have the shield duties of running the game. You need to pull them aside and say, "Let me show you some tips and tricks. Let me show you how I do this, and maybe
Oh yeah.
you'll get it." And
Oh,
before they have a chance to get used to the training wheels, you shove them off.
I do. Because I I will admit, yeah, that is definitely what it comes down to. But I also kind of just like, look, take the hint, and they're like, no, and like, there's a lot of issues, and I understand that, and I know that's what I'm doing, and but when there's another the rest of the table, like, could you just when I have enough people in the I who are looking in the back corner, when the GM who's causing all the problems is elsewhere, and they're all going, take control back. We want to have the game again, and I'm like, I want to play too. Yeah, but this GM sucks. Well, will anyone else take be GM? No. Okay. Well, I guess the call. I guess the it's time to do the job again.
Blaine,
And
Blaine, you realize like we have 5 gaming stores here, and not all of them have a full Friday night roster of players, even though they easily could in a town of 1.3 million in the metro. So I'm going to tell you that you could live up to your potential, maybe a little bit more than what you think, but you've gotten really comfortable where you're at. You
mm-hmm,
don't boot bad GMs out of the chair fast enough. No offense. because you're interested in leveling up your own character, and I can understand that. I want to play. I want to play. I want to play. I get it, but
I
the
want to.
table is suffering, and there won't be a table for much longer if you continue to not at least try to help the DM that's there. And if not, just fucking take the table away. But just text the rest of the party one night. I want to run my own game. I'll show you how to play. I'll show you how an enjoyable game is.
Oh,
That might be considered dirty pool, but there's been a lot of GMs that I've hung out with that are nice people, but it'd be fucking retarded to let them have the fucking shield and the entertainment of 6 people be held captive by them. Within 3 nights of gaming, they've gotten rid of their table because everything is a needless slog. They do nothing but miserable end run fights, and they don't have a sense of purpose, nor do they have an identifiable way that they can say this campaign is great. And I remember whenever we were lower level, but no, they don't. They're just there's these poor saps that are stuck captive to bad DMs. If you've got a bad DM, fix it. Either you give him a hand and show him how he can improve his game, or you just take the table. You go play somewhere else.
yeah, probably, probably.
Yeah.
But I just need free time to be able to actually go play it. I find another game to actually play. I have very limited time. I time to do things. So
Nobody has unlimited time, dude.
right, and I can't like two set I two sessions a week. That's all I can ever manage, and those 2 sessions are going to be exclusively probably because I can't find anybody else who's able to or willing to actually GM. That's literally what it came down to is or when I show up it's going to be like I I know what I'm shooting for, but because no one else really gives two shits about what anybody else really wants, they're not going to ask what I actually want. And nor do I want to show up to the table and go, look, here's what here's my goal, and then set out the entire agenda of what I want. Because at that point, I'm being an asshole and I'm ignoring what my fellow players want.
But
Because
you've done that before.
what? To,
You've
what?
come
Just
in and said, "This is what I want. This is what I want to do." I've
but the
been
thing
at a table with you when you've done that.
I have, but I've also grown up from those days and learned my mistakes of why that was an asshole thing to do, and I regret that I did those things. Now, but the thing is, I'm not going to show up to a table and go, look, here's my ultimate ambition, and then like set out like this massive document. Like these are the steps of what I want to end up heading towards, because that's an asshole move. So I'm going to show up and go, look, I'm part of a group, and that means everyone else has their own say in what this is going to be. Sure, I may have ambitions where I want to follow in the line of like, like Marius or some other great, but where I want to build an empire, I want to kill and conquer an empire, and I want to plant a flag on a giant chunk of it, so that way when I die, they build a massive monolith to my existence. That would be cool. But when you're with Schlocko the Clown, some other weirdos, and some other weird other things, and the GM storytelling system is random encounters plus silly in jokes, you kind of table your grand ambitions and go, well, this is my one campaign I'm going to be able to play for the next 4 years. I guess I'm just going to sit down and play something boring. And at that point, just accept whatever you're going to get, because no GM is going to look. So if you walk in going, this is my grand goal I want, and then GM goes, crap. How do I GM for this? I'm like, look, I know it's like, or to use Vampire the Masquerade, say like, hey, we're gonna play Vampire the Masquerade. Cool. I would like my goals are to play an Elysian level game. I want to play Elysian. I want to play an Elders game, an Elder scale game, and have everyone go, no, we're playing Street Punks. fine. I'm just gonna sit in the background and plot and plan, and figure out how to get the game to elder level. But then again, that's hoping that my GMs are going to be putting the effort in. But but it's when I see there's a lack of effort, that's when I just balk and go, cool. I'm just killing time at this point. Cool. If you need me, just call me when it's my turn.
Wow. Garrett?
I can't follow that.
You don't have to follow that, but I need an independent thought from you.
I mean, truthfully, like I myself, I tend to run when I DM. I do tend to run stuff off the cuff, and a lot of times what I do is I actually use the random encounter table to help me do that. I don't necessarily have every step by step. I've got bullet points of where I want the game to go, and it's just this is point A where we're starting. I want them to get to point B. Let's see where it takes us. And doing those nighttime encounters, like you're talking about, with watches, you're gonna have random, animals attack. I'm sorry, you are.
Yeah.
And I completely understand where you're coming from on that, but and also to Blaine's point, it's also the responsibility of the GM to try to loosely tie that in if he can. So you can do the as Blaine puts it, the lazy GM's way, but you can do it smart and actually kind of plug a couple dots together, kind of. Even if you take the strings broken in a few places, you can still kind of tie it to some other things to at least make it a coherent story. But like I said, I usually use it for at least the first couple, even sometimes 3 encounters, to really because every game is going to be different, and for the players to try to figure out their synergies. And I find that that's a really good way to do that. And usually by the third one, I'll tie in some type of hook. Whereas, there's going to be a story hook coming out of it, or something like that. So, that's me. I mean, I've got a buddy of mine who runs very similar to it, and he's been our DM on and off for, me and him pass on and off for, every 6 to 8 months, and he runs his roughly the same way. Now, granted, one of his big games is Exalted, and he's got his world that he's crafted, and he knows what to do, and he doesn't necessarily throw random encounters out there, but that is an entire world that he has crafted. He knows what's going to show up where. He knows the lore. He knows the system well enough. He can do it. Whereas if you're a newer GM, a lot of times you are going to rely on that. And what I suggest is put your plot hooks in there. Tie it together, even if it's a side quest. A side quest where they can go off and do something else that will bring them back around to your main quest. Like I said before, using Blaine's example of finding that armor and that Holy Avenger. Well, you return it back to the church and find out that he's not the first paladin that's gone missing. And there are plot hooks right there. It seems like they're being systematically hunted down, and they have a few leads, but they've all gone cold. I mean, you can use something along those lines to really start, pushing the story forward. And, you can use the random loot tables, and, it's not necessarily something that the party is going to have or keep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and to no, I agree. There are some DMs out there who are lazy, but there are also some DMs out there who don't know better. This is the way that they were taught how to DM or how they found a DM.
This is the way.
Yeah, it is the way. And sometimes they need someone else who has DM'd before to pull them to the side and go, hey. And even you can even help them. Yes, you're in the game, but then remember, you've got player knowledge and your character knowledge. And make sure that you tell them strictly, anything that you help me with is your player knowledge. Your character won't know anything about this.
No,
Yeah.
the GM won't let the player find out what the heroes did.
Right. I just need to find better GMs. That's literally what it comes down to. But that's not going to happen for a while. So, because I have not been exactly what I call overwhelmed by when I meet other people in the wild. So,
I'm sorry that you've had some bad experiences with other GMs, dude. I really am. I mean, it's understandable, but I need you. If you're going to be in a position, especially where you're mentoring kids, just don't even offer up the DM shield at the start of the game. I know you want to play, take it, run with it, make it your bitch, make the game your bitch.
Okay, Blaine.
yes.
On the at where did the bad GM touch you?
Ewoks, logs from the side.
Oh, sorry, hungry Ewok.
Also, not an AT-AT, ATST.
My brain, my brain is fried. I was on vacation for 2 weeks. Then they threw me into the office, and I've been dealing with newbies and everything else. It's just been, it's been a struggle. Struggle's real. All right. So, but now you said that you've crafted some of your own tables.
Yes.
Now with those tables, how did you go about crafting them? Because I think that might actually help. If we can actually give some insights, if you're crafting your own, on how you can avoid some of the pitfalls that have upset you.
In essence, when I did craft my own tables, I literally went through and I have, thanks to being the forever GM, I do have several notebooks that are just full of NPCs, just leveled up characters. Because I firmly believe that the biggest monsters in my worlds tend to be other humanoids. So you're going to encounter about half the time other people who have weapons and skills and armors and other stuff like that. So I just go through my book and I encounter it's my books and build up. Okay, they're going to be in an imperial military garrison. I'm going to here's what I think will be in this area. So therefore, if they trigger an alarm, I can go through and say, okay, there's going to be like a D6 stormtroopers who are going to show up, and they're going to be I led by a commander. And if I get too many, I can roll. A captain will show up. There's a commander who's also out there, and I can actually roll out the entire encounter. And if things escalate too much out in certain areas, a war wagon with a ballista might show up, or some other like. I've got my encounter set up for the idea of what's in that region and what's going to be tailored to that section. So therefore, that's why when I opened this entire rant in the first place, I said there's just not a good chart that you can just look at and go, okay, this is a wooded area. This is a wooded biome. This is an urban area. I want to have a theme of my table being tailored to, well, you're engaging the underworld. Here's some thieves. Here's some thugs. Here's some gangsters. Have the encounter, that chart tailored more towards being, well, you're dealing with smugglers. You might, have pissed off that one guy who has the elite guard. You don't know this. I didn't know it, but hey, look. So you're suddenly you might you're out there with your little your crack team of fellow adventurers. Your kill team goes out there, and unfortunately, someone's into. Well, there's an elite guard who's just like they could be talked down, they could be handled reasonably, or mm, arrows and some blood gets spilled, and there's some bodies on the ground. Could be yours, could be them, probably them. Your heroes, but I have a say in this, and but you don't have charts like that. You don't have a chart that's geared towards the King's Guard. You don't have a chart geared towards the underworld. You don't have a chart geared towards this is the I know this is the merchant guild who's you pissed off. You don't have a chart that's more geared towards forests, plains, jungles. Screw aquatics because there's nothing anything good in that chart. Mountain ranges. It's just simply okay, this is the biome they live in, and this is a CR encounter that's of appropriate level, and good luck. And it puts the bias on and the heavy lifting on, like, and the heavy lifting should always be on GM, but it does either they put no effort and you just get a fight, or they got to figure out how to weave that in there. But if I take the time and actually have built my own encounters, well, I now know why there is a thieves guild enforcer in the area, why there is a thieves guild captain in the area, because well, you're fucking with the thieves guild territory. Of course that's what you're going to be dealing with. Oh hey, you screwed up with I with the with one of the merchant guilds. Well shit, now you got to deal with their mercenaries. My tables will reflect the fact that you're in that environment, but you don't get tables like that. You just get random tables that just are just going to take the random trash that's this is just an example. I don't use this book, but oh hey look, all I got to work with is this piece of crud book here, and now I gotta figure out how to stitch that stuff into it, and it's just like, eh. And yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I really
What
feel
about you,
sorry for
Bruce?
you. Say again.
What about you, Bruce? Do you set your own random encounters, or do you actually use ones from the books, or how do you normally do it?
It really depends what I'm running. Shadzard sent me a link. I want to take a look at this real quick because it's a time travel back to years ago. All right. Characteristics of random encounter tables. All monster encounter tables have certain concepts. Before you begin creating your own tables, you have to get an idea of why we have them. Their uniqueness gives an idea of what the level's like, or what's here, the level of civilization, the degree of danger, the magical weirdness of the area. Players never see the entire table, and such tables help the DM define for himself the nature of the campaign role. The frequency, and it kind of goes into frequencies. Like a common monster you would find here 70% of the time. An uncommon monster fills the next 20%, and they're fewer in number and are more wary of outsiders. And then the rare creatures actually show up 7% of the time, and they're either powerful, normally solitary, or very refreshing, retiring player characters. With a abandon. You have the uncommon monsters that the rare encounter monsters come up 7% of the time. They're normally solitary except powerful, or very again very unique in their power band. Very rare creatures, 3% of the population. They're exotic and almost always extremely powerful. They have wandered from the normal range or magical nature such that many can possibly exist at any time in one place. Not many can possibly exist at any time in one place. My bad. Unique monsters are that. You don't put them on random encounter charts, okay? Unique monsters, they get their own fucking set encounter. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I know this might be boring, but it is It's the original second edition stuff. Second edition Dungeons and Dragons. Back when the game was really well designed by people who love the game and wanted to see that engine continue. Um, they talk about it, and they talk about why you'd set up a table like that. They talk about why you'd want to have a reason for theming, or what makes it important to you. Why are you needing to have a random encounter chart? Why don't you just if you're not going to use a random encounter chart, how are you determining what monsters the players find? Is it because you have a hex grid set up, and if you go over here you fight goblins, if you go over here you fight orcs, if you go over here you fight fucking bugbears, if you go over here you fight gnolls, if you go over here you find a very friendly gypsy who steals all your money, and then he makes you an anti-Semite, and then if you go over here you find out that you're dealing with corporate shills, and they make you sign an agreement to be part of this guild that gives you no benefits, and you're fucked.
Yeah.
It's a do you determine it with that, or how do you determine what's going to go on in your game whenever you hit a lull spot? Because you're going to have a point where you're playing a game and the random encounter chart is going to save your ass from staring at the book, or like, I need to get my mindset back together, so I'm going to take a break for 45 seconds, go grab coffee beans and put them in between my lip and my gums, and while I'm doing that I need you to roll these dice and I'll be right back. I'm not even going to tell you which chart I'm going to look at, and when you come back your players have, well, some of them are on deck smoking. Everybody get back in here. Hey, guys, come on, get back. We're going to look at the random encounter chart. And you start setting up because they rolled a fucking deep under, or a huge sized deep umbral dragon. And some people are like, what the fuck is that? Well, it's a dragon that belches out negative levels. What?
Yeah.
And you're just kind of smiling to yourself because now the party better learn cooperation, or well, otherwise they're gonna feel the wrath of having a random encounter kill this campaign. And I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with letting a random encounter chart kill off a campaign, because maybe the players didn't need to finish this module. Maybe the players needed to not be such selfish cunts.
Murder
Maybe
hobos.
What? Yeah.
Murder
Maybe
hobos.
the murder hobos got just desserts. And maybe you
Yeah.
need to have that happen, because otherwise, if not, then you're just doing planned encounters and you're just setting up the game for a script run, and you really get tired because the players are saying this and they need to just say these things here, and they just need to follow these things I've outlined for them, and then they can get experience points and we can continue with the next encounter, next exciting planned encounter with no fun whatsoever, and
God,
all
no.
the fun has been sucked out homogenously, and everybody's a boring, bland ass, blue haired land whale, and we all talk
Yep.
in terms of fucking pronouns, and we don't do a single fucking thing for the game, which we love so much.
True. True.
Don't do that.
No.
Cats
Look
and
at the world that
dogs.
you're playing. Use a random encounter chart to help theme the world. Use it to help give life to a world that otherwise would be boring or flat. And
I
and if you can't do that, what you do is you let the players discuss things, and you're moving the party as they want to go, or in that intended direction of travel, but they will meet up with things that might change the entire campaign. Because before, we were going to go down in the Underdark and go to the Sunless Sea and try to kill aboleths, but now we found that there's drow slavers over here, and holy fuck, we are against slavery.
No
And
slavery for you.
we've got to go kill slavers, and fuck, it's against the slavers campaign now, Underdark style, and we got to do that. So we're redoing the entire campaign, and the players are showing me on the map where they want to go, but when they do it, they're not showing me on the campaign map where I have everything prepared. Instead, the players are putting another paper next to the map and saying, we want to go over here, the
oh
blank
yeah.
spot,
And the
where
thing
you
is,
haven't detailed it yet. And so you've got to do that. And a random encounter chart will show you how you can keep your game on track, how to keep the theming available, and maybe the players do explore over here this other place of business or these other few hundred miles of wilderness, and maybe they get a level or two and can actually be a viable combat threat. Probably not, but
Probably
they
not.
might have the ability to level up and delay their inevitable demise, because it sounds like there's too many players out there that are being led around by panty waist bird brain DMs that have no clue what the game is about. But they get upset when you argue with them or say, no, I think we need to discuss this. And they'll never show up for gatekeepers. They'll never show up for fucking table breakers. But they'll be the first ones to upload a hate click video. I can't stand these guys. Bruce is mean.
Ugh.
So they'll do that. But the random encounter chart helps your game. Even if it's
Now,
not an encounter, maybe the players see a scrap of paper flitting through the hallway, or maybe the characters see that there's an item on sale, or maybe you just have a fucking subscription to Creighton Broadhurst at Raging Swan Press. Here's a plug for you, Creighton. Creighton puts together things like items you would find in a dead cleric's pockets. There's 20 fucking discoveries you can make when you search the corpse. What is it that he's got in his jacket? And you have 20 different things. And because Creighton Broadhurst is one of the best fucking D&D or fantasy tabletoppers out there that runs and writes very well, and thank God he hasn't decided to write fiction, otherwise I'd be fucked. He writes a campaign snippets, just little things like $3 packet that you get, and it's maybe 1,000 words. But he has so much packed into those 1,000 words that you start to rethink your campaign, because
yeah,
maybe you've been filling it in for the past 20 years and you need to give your players more. Because within 3 sentences, Creighton Broadhurst has shown you that there's an item inside a cleric's fucking overcoat that might give another 5 to 7 nights of gaming as the players try to find who this picture is, or what is the significance of this invoice, what is going on with this key. And
now,
you have so much. So random encounter tables are not to be angry at. You, whenever you have a bad DM that just goes on autopilot mode and says, I'm going to run Knives in the Dark because the system runs itself, you stand right the fuck up and leave.
yeah,
There's other tables out there. There's other GMs that want to get their experience of learning how to have a master player like you at their table and have you help shape their way of interpreting the game to others.
and
So find somebody that's willing to work with you and have a good compromise, but don't make concessions. Okay, there's a difference between compromises and concessions. A compromise is, well, I've ran the game for about 25 years, and I was told by my other friends that they wanted me to run the game because they love it when I run, because they have a 4-year campaign plan on how their characters will evolve when Blaine runs. But little Timmy's never ran before, and he's got a lot of neat ideas, and he's youthful and he's exuberant, and he's got a zest for the game that I've lost after 3 decades of running it. So I want Timmy to run, and if Timmy has questions, I'll help him out. But I'm not going to run the game for him. I'm going to show him what I do, what I put together, and the small 5-6 pages that I go through for my campaign notes. And what is really important is to make sure you're looking at your players and you're having eye contact and nobody's staring at their phone, but instead everybody's talking to each other and trying to work things out to where we can all like possibly have the least amount of financial ruin come to our player characters before we endeavor on this 7-week trip across the continent. And you could do that.
yeah,
I don't mean to, I'm not trying to harp on you. And you
I
know that.
know.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Now,
I got delivered a package.
what'd you get?
I
Hot
don't
pocket?
know. No.
Oh,
There's a seal.
oh,
So
okay,
I'm gonna pop the seal.
okay,
What is this?
okay. Show it, whatever it is.
This is my wife. My wife just came home and she handed me that, and friends of ours got reindeer stuff, and yeah.
Rocks. Cool.
I got a rock.
Ooh. Ooh. Dice. Ooh,
Cool.
pretty dice.
What'd you get?
Oh.
I think Garrett's gonna come.
Shiny
I do believe so.
Maverick. Shiny Click Mavericks. She actually made these. The
Nice.
my friend's girlfriend has been getting into dice making, so yeah. She
Best friend's girlfriend.
yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
That come
He's a
on.
pretty die.
There we go.
That's pretty.
And
Just as
I think we might have killed our audience, but I really think that random encounter.
You know what? They'll
tables
watch it.
They'll
They'll
watch
watch it on the on the replay. So
it. Yeah.
and chances are, it, that's part of the fun though. It's the contest between the players who don't want to be broke and the GM who wants you to be broke. So it's the whole I want money, you can't have money, and that's a fun interplay. So you kind of want to keep trying that. So
Hey, TW.
and handmade and weighted dice, when they're done right, they're fun. And I guess to get back on the topic a little bit is that I I'll admit I have used them for similar things for the random thing found in pocket, and then but I guess I'm a little on the wrong side of things here on. And yes, I'm sorry, I'm insanity. I do have I do have insanity, and I apologize for it if it scares everybody else off. So maybe I'm not the best person to be on this if I just keep scaring everybody off.
I would disagree.
actually I like this because as opposed to some of our other shows that we've
Discussion.
done, you've got we've got a few opposing views here,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I don't think we have that too often.
Like
no,
whenever I put together a game, I always have a couple random encounter charts available just to make sure that if there's a lull in the game or whatever, I have something to grow in my DM's toolbox and I can pull it out. A DM's toolbox is very important to me, and I just like the idea of being able to. Well, the party's in round 7 of a combat where the players and the monsters are slapping each other, but no damage is being done. To start the combat to get really honest and possibly lethal, I'm going to go roll this random encounter because these guys are making a lot of noise in the dungeon. And I want
it's
them to realize like you don't exist in a vacuum. Things do not um, things do not exist in a stasis. So you're going to have a dungeon that will become more alive as you continue to disturb it. You continue to put your finger in it and mush it around and try to have your way with it. It's just like the beer and this honey, which is at the very bottom of it here. I'm going to agitate the honey and get the good stuff going. Just like whenever we've got like round 6 of a combat
yeah,
and a new contestant has entered the fray. And
The gelatinous cube falls from a hole in the ceiling.
it's just a bunch of gale endures. Rocks fall, everybody dies.
yeah.
Um, you don't want to overwhelm the players. Okay, you don't. I mean, you want them to fear for their characters' lives, but you don't want to truly give them hatred for the sound of the dice rattling across the table. You want them to enjoy the game and see what develops next.
and
But
I and I
I
think that's partially my problem is that I don't have that because I've been doing this for stupidly too long. I have that mentality of I don't like I don't when I was younger and I was starting out at this, yeah, I needed that crutch. I needed those random counters, and some of those things helped shape the world that I'm still running decades down the road. So, but the thing is, I'm at the point now where I have a good idea what lives in the what lives on each continent. I have an idea what lives in what's in each biome. I have an idea what's out there. And so if there's ever that point where there's a lull, I have an idea what could probably be out there to cause problems. So for me, I don't need the crutch anymore of the of the random table, which is the reason why I don't use them very often, because at that point I can now because I have a grasp as a GM of what my world is, what the campaign is, what the story is. I can throw a regional location appropriate encounter together off the top of my head or with some notes that will lead to a not great encounter but an interesting encounter, or at least enough to be able to get the story, to poke the players, to prod them to go. Sure, I might use a random loot table just because, hey, somebody might have, a really cool locket, and the party might go, it's worth 5 gold pieces, and sell it, or someone latches onto it and goes, hey, it's cool, and now we're going to run with that, and that suddenly gives me, me a little so. It does come down to the appropriate use of a table at the right time in the right measures. It's that determination that comes down to it, and I don't. And to be all brutally honest, every game is GM fiat, and the less, because you're the ref. And so your fiat, when you roll on that table behind the thing, unless you're one of those people, unless you are so mechanically detached, you're gonna roll, you roll and go, well, it says there's 12 void worms about ready to attack us. Yeah, I don't think the party can handle 12 void worms.
Are they really ready to attack you?
Yeah, and then suddenly that's GM fiat. You're like, no, I'm gonna re-roll. Well, that's just as much tailoring an encounter as putting the effort ahead of time and going, well, I know roughly what's going on here. Because unless you just go, well, because the chart says 5 gelatinous cubes appear, we're going to run 5 gelatinous cubes. Or you're out in the woods, 12 wolves attack you. Why? Chart said 12 wolves are attacking you. You go. You have to deal with it. And, some people like that randomness. I don't. And I'll admit it. So that infects my play style. I like a bit more. Sure, the players get to make the hard decision of where they're going, and then I can adapt from there. So it's I they push. There's a response. They respond to what I do, and then it builds out from there, and it gains momentum. But when it's hard to build momentum when suddenly the course changes immensely in a weird direction thanks to a table. So my hatred really just stems down to unrestricted use. Like in small amounts and the right poke can do wonders. But the problem is that too many just take that little poke, and then that becomes their only crutch. That's the stick they depend on, and that's where it burns me to the point where I have my distinct just automated response where it's just like a knee-jerk reaction where it's just like, oh, nope, nope, nope. So because there's just a point where it's just like I'm bored with randomness, and I want to I don't want to be the one, if I'm playing, I don't want to be in complete control of what's happening, but I want my actions to feel like they're actually meaningful, even if it's just an illusion of being meaningful. But when I know that my actions don't mean anything because a random chart's just going to say something different, it takes away that illusion of actually being more than a board game piece. And at that point, and once that illusion is broken, I just go boot up Diablo and play a game.
See, I don't think the game is ran by random encounter charts. I think the game is is part player agency, and here goes the emails now. Part player agency and part set series of events dictated by the GM or DM or storyteller or referee. I think the game completely depends upon both the players and the dungeon master, to where you guys have to agree you're going to have a narrative. And there's going to be a time where sometimes the story will take an unpleasant turn and players might die.
Yeah.
But you're going to be making the game as fun for them as you can within the boundaries of the rule set of the game, because you don't want to just be like, oh, fuck these rules and just live anarchistly, because you're going to be up for very much a lot of disappointment. um, the rules are there to help you. The tools that they put in the books, the random encounters, are there to assist you, but they're not meant to be a crutch. They're meant to be something that when you're needing to help pick up the game, or maybe the players need to go take a 5 minute break, smoke some cigarettes, come back, and when they come back, you're setting up the miniature table with the players in the center, and you're putting together the dungeon terrain or inking up the battle mat, however you look at it. But you do that, and you say you were investigating something, and all of a sudden movement starts to happen. Roll for initiative,
Mm-hmm.
and just do that. Just go with that. But I think that to script the entire game is almost worse than run the game by random encounter. I think that's worse, because you're forcing the players to be guided along on an adventure path that very very rarely will offer wiggle room. And really, you need to just be able to trust your players, and you need to be able to trust the tools that are with the game you play, or you need to find a different guy that sells you your favorite paraphernalia for the game. I've got Creighton Broadhurst. He does a wonderful job. Raging Swan Press is my go-to. I always have a Raging Swan Press book at my table before I run. One of them is there because they have all these neat ideas crammed between the covers of their softcover books. And if you don't know who they are, you're really missing out. In fact, I've posted in the chat before, Raging Swan Press made a 96 page or something like that free download called The Lonely Coast. And The Lonely Coast is a very enjoyable, almost a trip back to 1990s Thunder Rift for Mystara or basic D&D. And it has 10 little towns in it with enough information for the DM to take the skeleton and flesh it out into an actual game. You have enough information out there to make it an intriguing location, a place where the trade winds blow and you get to see the white caps on the shore. But the woods are a deadly place to be, and
Mm-hmm.
you might get killed there. And he has mastered the art of doing game fiction to where you can read the loud text of the random encounter chart, and the players will talk about that for 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah. I
You
guess I just haven't found. I guess when it comes to just running anything that involves D20 plus level plus race plus class, aka anything with the word Dungeons and Dragons or a derivative, I just haven't had a good encounter with a GM who actually knows anything more than just what counts as passable.
yeah.
And because every GM I know who's a good GM who could be able to run their way out of a wet paper bag and make a game that's incredible, they all move to other game engines. They all play other games. It's like we when it comes like my problem is that I'm stuck running a game engine that's universally known because I'm stuck in a perpetual a perpetual cycle of having to deal with new people every 2 to 3 years. A full group reset every 2 to 3 years, and then I have to deal with new people coming in every 2 3 years. I can't just go out and say, "Hey, everybody, we're going to play Twilight 2000, or we're going to play Legend of the Five Rings, we're going to play Seven Seas, or we're going to play Shadowrun." Most of them are going to go, "I have never heard of that."
And that's
So,
fine. And you need to sit their ass down and be like, listen, when I first started playing D&D, we had no idea what D&D was.
right.
So,
And
this is and this, and no offense, Blaine,
yeah,
but I always hear you talk highly about other game systems, and you never run them. You never run them. You never run them. You
but
have a regular group that shows up because they took a class syllabus and they want to
yeah,
know about what you're doing.
but
No
the thing,
offense
but
to
the thing
you.
here is that trying to get them to get them to understand the game engine and then convert, I have to deal with the fact that I have my the actual my code my the code guy who runs me run the thing, who he pretty much goes, "We're gonna like whenever we've tried to run Seven Seas, it's good for a little bit, but then people just can't grasp it because it's a whole different concept because they come in knowing a little bit on what Dungeons and Dragons does. They understand from gaming, from video games, from novels, from online. You can just go anywhere and find infinite resources that will help you create whatever you dream up with Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
So it's it's the entrance, it's the gateway drug, and so many of them when the kids go off and go play other things, switch to other game engines, but I'm always stuck perpetually trapped
No, you're not.
with this engine unless I just want to quit doing whatever quit doing the
You're not
volunteer
stuck.
work.
You are not stuck. Maybe I'm just not seeing it right, but I honestly feel like you could take their money for the class syllabus and be like, all right, this year we're going to run Shadowrun. And if you need to understand what this is, it is like Johnny Mnemonic meets J.R.R. Tolkien. And somebody's going to get it, and most of them won't. But that's okay. You don't
Yep.
let them roll up a character. You give them pre-gens. You say, here's your characters. And you start to run. And then whenever it's time for them to roll dice, you explain to them how the dice rolls work. And you
Yeah.
start to do that. But never think that you are subject to having to run a game because nobody wants to play anything else. You take a you take one of your newbies into a game store like just for fun, and
Oh
just
yeah.
let them off the leash. Let them wander around all the aisles. Let them go check out all the stuff. They're gonna come back with boxes of Warhammer shit, Blood Bowl. They're gonna have Mantic Games, Kings of War stuff. They're gonna have books stacked up on top of books. They have no rhyme or reason. They're like, this stuff looks really cool, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
What do you know about these games?
And it's a
And
lot
for
of
that
fun, and they're
3 hours,
all fun.
you're explaining to them. Or yeah, Shatter's like get on Tabletop Simulator and search for a game on there. But you are never subject and handcuffed to a game engine that you don't really appreciate. You're never that guy. Not you, Blaine.
I know.
You're too smart, and you really should be trying to expand the people that you touch. You should expand their gaming diets. And you do a good job of conveying a a system or a system of ideas or some such. You do a very good job of giving life to that in someone's head.
I
So
know.
True story.
you aren't shackled to fifth edition. You aren't stuck to second ed or first ed. You're not going to be stuck with third ed or Pathfinder. Whatever
Oh
you're going to play, they're going to play. Yeah, that's the secret.
yeah.
Yeah, D&D is what everybody calls it, but really we're not playing D&D tonight. We're going to play something else. We're going to play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. We're going to play Coriolis. We're going to play fucking Modifius game. We're going to do
No,
this
no
over here.
Modifius. No
Okay,
Modifius.
but you get the idea. You dictate what they play.
Right.
You dictate that. If they're not normal gamers, all
Now
you've got to do is keep them entertained for 4 or 6 hours or whatever your time slot is,
about
and then
4 hours.
It's over after that. It's over.
And
There's good.
the thing is that like I said, but when I go out hunting for games, my answer that I always get is, "Hey, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons," and here's me, "Oh, fucking okay." And I've had many a GM tell me to shut the fuck up and just play the game we're playing, and I'm just like, all right. And then they wonder why I just kind of just go, okay, cool, because a lot of GMs do go, like a lot of players and GMs are, they got their idea and they're going to run with it. And I'll admit, I got my idea and I run with it. So I'm not innocent of this by any way, shape, or form. But being told to, or worse, coming into an established group and then being going, okay, second fiddle, and then wait for to get caught to catch up, and you're never going to catch up because there's never they're never going to. It's just like it's just a mess, and I know I'm carrying a lot of baggage. I'm carrying about 747 worth of baggage, and I know that. So yeah, but I deal with it, and I know it's just weird. I know I've got my preconceptions, and I know their biases, and I try to get past them, but I know.
At least you understand that.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, I want you to actually seriously challenge these beliefs because I think the player has hurt you, not the game. The game the game doesn't mind. The game doesn't care. You're going to use the game, whatever. But the
right.
game didn't will go out of its way to hurt you. It's these
And
other GMs that have ruined your experiences.
and the the really bad thing is like to make a comment I made a couple weeks back and forth is like no game developer gives a shit about what you do, but and so the game really isn't your enemy. It's just the players. And I guess when you go into a game store and you look at what the game what games are available on the looking for players chart or looking for a GM chart, and then you're like, okay, that's gonna be interesting, and then you go and sit there and talk to them, and you're like, yeah, no.
Yeah,
So
well, and Chad's are like, you don't you dare invite me over for D&D and then pull some other game out. You'll pull back a stump where there used to be a hand.
I understand, and Shadzar, too many people are like you who I encounter, where it's like, hey, does anybody want to play with the? Oh, no, we're playing this, and I'm like, okay, I go. Like it's like I had one player. He was a really good storyteller. Like really good World of Darkness player, and he came back. He came in to visit from Seattle one day, and he's like, "So what are you running?" "Well, I'm getting ready to run my game tomorrow." And he's like, "Is it Dungeons and Dragons?" "Yep." He goes, "Give me a second." And then he can literally just vomit a character out. He goes, "It's Dungeons and Dragons. There's literally no thought to this." And like, what level are they? What's their gear level? What's the wealth level? This, blah, here you go. I got a character done, and I'm like, God, is this? Are we? And I look, and the two of us were just sitting there, with, drinking beer, going, "Are we literally both this at this level of detachment from actually enjoying this that we can literally just vomit out mindlessly a functional character in less than 5 minutes?" Yeah, God, we suck. Get another beer out, and then that's literally what it comes down to. Which kind of actually like it's both awesome that most of us have system mastery at that point to be able to do that, and then it's like if we spending any time theory crowding, like we want to do something that's a little off the norm but still be functional. And I guess that's just it. It's like, and but at that point we're not thinking like we're playing, we're just thinking about it in pure mechanical terms rather than anything that could be actually enjoyable. I think that's the right term, enjoyable. And like I said, I know that's baggage from me having enough bad GMs to the point where I can tell a bad one coming pretty fast. And I got to make it through the rest of the session before I walk out because I don't want to leave a bad impression of, well, this player just leaves in the middle of sessions, which I could do, and that's not friendly. That's not going to produce a conducive environment. Though, by God, I'm going to underscore that I undermine them later, but try to do it in a peaceful, nice way that doesn't ruin their entire group, or just find something better to do with my time elsewhere.
I don't want you to hate the game.
And I've honestly I like gaming. I just walking into a gaming store, I can tell by who's talking if I want to be in their group or not within minutes of first contact. And usually the people who I want to game with have full tables and aren't looking for new players. So, and the people who have open spots tend to have reasons why they have open spots. And that's usually like a red flag on why do you need players? Well, I had like 3 players walk out on me, but I still want a GM. Oh, fuck. All right.
Let's make it 4.
What was that?
Let's make it 4.
Yeah.
This has been the most unusual stream we've ever done.
Yeah.
It started out with a rant, and now we're just here.
I still think that however you go about it, this is one of the sessions where I came in here unprepared because I didn't know what I was getting into with random encounters. Holy shit, Blaine's got an earful for me.
I'm sorry.
It's fine, but I don't think the problem you're having with this is at all the game. I think it's some of the players you've got, and you just said there are some players you can tell when you walk into a game store. Like, do you want them at your table? No. Yes. Maybe
Yeah.
this one over here. And you have that. You're like, I wouldn't mind these 3 people. And you go through that in your head, so you swap numbers, you get the contact information, and whenever they do have available free time, you guys can play together. Maybe a year or 2 from now. Hobbies like this is why we get together for socialization, and it's fun. But sometimes you have to wait to get people to your table. Garrett and I met up at a good time to where we actually had a junction where we could immediately start to get to know each other, start gaming, start running for our friends. And you came along in 2009. You came over to the house, and I wanted to have you as part of my regular group, Blaine. Maybe you would see the way I run, and maybe you'd realize that I'm not really that talented of a DM, or maybe I'm a great DM, but you would at least enjoy yourself.
Honestly, for me, it just comes down. I just want more reasons to be focused and engaged by a game, rather than feeling detached to the point where I want to do anything else besides focus on the game. Because bad GMs who use crutches badly because of the social contract, I don't want to just walk out on my friends or walk out now some rando I see at a convention who runs the world's worst game in the universe. Oh yeah, fuck it, walk it. Just gonna walk. The thing is, that's a convention. I'm never gonna see them again. They're just some weird guy I met in a badly lit room at because I was in between an actual real panel that I wanted to actually go to. So fuck it. You know what? I got 4 hours. I'm gonna sit on this game. Wow, this was a mistake. And you know what? No skin off my teeth. It was 4 hours at a convention, whatever. But the thing is that if I was to go, say, if the gods ever let me have free time and could join Garrett's game, God help me, that'd be great. But I wouldn't want to walk out because why? Because I like Garrett and most of the people in that group. They're actually nice people. I really do enjoy their company. The problem is time. But if I had a bad moment, I would feel comfortable to talk to them. But if I would say I went to just for fun and some weird people there, and I'm like, shit. Do I go in there and say, look, I have a pretty decent grasp of several major concepts and would like to explore these things, and then I get no, we're here to do this random thing. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm here. Do you need me to do anything? No, you're fine. Okay, cool. Bye.
I think there's some more things that we could find out about Blaine that would explain a lot more of why he rants so well.
PTSD, severe levels of PTSD.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Um,
I'm just taking notes for a dating profile in about 5-10 years. Because when he gets to that point, we're gonna be sitting here typing him up a dating profile. So chicks will swipe. It's going to be all nerds and everything. Only gamers, and that's going to be the name of it. Only gamers, and then they'll have to swipe and double tap and do all kinds of weird up down down left right. They got to do codes to yes, and yes, this is what it is. And look how red his face is. His face is redder than my hair. Oh my god.
your DM sucks. Change my mind. That's all I would do. I would totally just superimpose his face or Photoshop it on top of Crowder and
That-
Photoshop that whiteboard he's got underneath it. Your DM sucks. Change my mind. And just go with that. Just let's see
Works.
what we net. And I'm pretty certain that his conversations just from that photo would get him like some weird libertarian gun rights advocate chick, some lady who's like,
Oh
yeah,
hell
I was
yeah.
married, but my pussy was a piece of shit, and he cheated on me. But I've got the NRA card at home, and we're going to a shoot next week, and I really want to get back into some Warhammer Quest and hell, D&D if I could get into it. And you're just you were on board because she has tits until she said Warhammer Quest. You're like, God damn it! You're like,
Pretty
I
much.
wanted to play a game, not be a board gamer. Fuck, you know. So you were, as Blaine was saying,
There's
That would
four.
be the moment.
no cat people allowed.
There is four miniatures there that are going to have to be re-glued and repainted now.
Yeah, I know. That's
Sorry.
the breaks. Um, Subtitled "No Cat People Allowed." Gamer girls pushing their OnlyFans. Dog website dating only gamers expect only to find dogs you're looking for. Oh
I
god.
can't see. I can't say that because I play BattleTech, which is like the supreme crunchy, horrible, slow war game. So if I want wargaming, I got wargame. I got slow wargaming here.
All right. So, somebody page in Max here. They're gonna go fawn over. Gonna have their bromance over BattleTech. I love the Innersphere. Oh, I'm a clan person.
Oh fuck no! The best part about that game is that nobody's perfect, nobody's right. Everyone commits war crimes because somewhere it's war crime o'clock. Just gonna nuke somebody. Why? Because we hate everybody, and there's no good guys. Everyone's evil. Just
Everybody's evil.
as long as your check don't bounce, it don't fucking matter.
Yeah, and Travis is right. The BattleTech PC game is pretty good. It reminded me of Quake.
Yeah.
The new BattleTech game was reminding me of Quake really fiercely. It was
Oh
good.
gosh, yes.
Um,
Rogue Tech is the best way to play.
I'm kind of tapped as far as like talking
Oh
about
yeah,
random encounters. I mean,
Yeah.
we can talk
me
further
too.
on it, but
No,
I really like. I didn't mean to be a boring host or stream. For those few of you that are here right now, thank you for watching us all this way. Uh,
Hey,
Garrett,
I think this is our shortest episode.
well, that's fine. We don't have to have
Oh
a
yeah.
full bus 2 hours the whole time. Oh, you need a 2 hour stream? I'm unsubscribed. You
look,
know,
look, Garrett. When you said before stream, just shake me up and point me at a direction. That's a problem. You pulled the pin on a grenade and then threw it. It bounced back. I'm sorry.
No, it hit exactly where I wanted it to.
Oh
It's-
good.
I just I disagree with you so vehemently. And Blaine, you've got an open fucking slot waiting on you. This Saturday we're running a game again.
Unfortunately,
I know.
I'm working eternally.
I know.
So that's my problem. So
what time are you off?
3 in the afternoon, but then I head off to go actually GM and like GM and do a Christmas party. So at the same time. So
How many entries are on your random encounter chart for Saturday?
typically they have I only 4, but they're going down into a big giant mine that's full of chemical gas and weird mutations. So there's some variation in there.
I really
random mutation charts? Yes.
Well,
I like
depending
this
on
idea.
like some spit acid, some spit fire. So when the encounter starts, I just choose which element they're going to be attacking with. So that's about all it comes down to, and or the bugs that will spawn bigger bug. If they don't kill it fast enough, it becomes bigger bugs, and it becomes more fun down there.
What are you playing?
Dungeons and Dragons,
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
Borderlands.
no.
50 years aftermath.
I thought he was talking. What is it Shadow? Yeah, Shadowrun, and you were taking him into Bug City or something.
It might as well be, but they're like going down into like ruins of an old Magitech war, and they're going to go deal with they have no reason to go down there, but they want to hide out from the fact that they're starting a civil war and they don't want to be killed by stormtroopers. So they're going, we need to go find somewhere to hide. So they went into this old mine, and then the mine's got problems because it's leftovers from a war from a major war that happened about 40 years back, and the mine's still infested with chemicals and horrifying mutagens and arcane leftovers. So they're just going to go down there and not get killed. They hope. Meanwhile, there's
they go in as humans, come out as turtles.
Pretty much. And if they all die down there, well, they chose to go down into that pit. Even though like the Mad Max little barbarian core around it of just savage barbarians are like going, yeah, we don't even go down. Go down there, like, and we need gas masks to be able to not die down there. Like, and they're going, we're going down there. Why? Why would you want to go down there? I've warned you to not go down there. There's a sign that says bad shit down here. In fact, there's barbarians who are on like scaffolding with heavy crossbows shooting down into the darkness to keep whatever's down there. And you want to go down there? Yes. Okay. Cool. So yeah, there's some
Metamorphosis alpha one of these days.
That sounds I don't know what it is, but it sounds fun.
Think of it was the inspiration for Fallout.
Okay, you sold me already. Fallout 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Like, are you talking about good Fallout? Okay, the good Fallouts. Okay, good Fallout.
Yeah. I haven't played 3, and I haven't played New Vegas, and I've not played 4, and my life is still pretty good.
New Vegas captures the feel of 1 and 2, while 3 and 4 are just kind of meh. They're good mod platforms.
I'm all right. I don't need it.
You're good.
I've got to say that if I'm going to play anything like that, I'll just fire up fucking Stalker. Anyway, Saturday we've got a game going on at about 12:30 in the afternoon. We'll be running until whenever the players finally get done with this coming session. I don't have any grand hopes for them. They might actually go and do the things that they've been talking about doing. It's kind of nice to have a group of players that are getting along again. I feel like my player party is actually starting to become decent friends, and they are getting to know each other better. Maybe it's because they've all got each other's communications, Discord, Voxer.
Yeah.
Some have their various ways of getting everybody to the knowledge they need so they can have a good communication, they can have a good conversation, and I don't have to be present for it. That's one thing I really appreciate about the new world we live in. The tech is great because everybody can correspond, and they can do their meme sharing and all that, which the memes have been great. Thank you, Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank you, Jesse Smollett. You've made my meme life so much more enriched. And
that's true.
So I'm just saying, like, they do that, and they're enjoying themselves. So I'm happy, and so we get to play again on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Garrett, if you want to stop by and hang out, the opportunity for that is open for you as well.
I'll I'll probably be in the chat, just running mod, but
Okay.
But if the
on and
game runs
off.
to 8 o'clock, I'll be free then.
We'll be probably wrapping up around 8 or 10 o'clock at night.
Okay, so I'll catch the very end of it. Okay.
But Shauna will review of the stream come this week or next week. Oh, I love it when Shauna reviews streams. He's never done us yet. He's
Oh
probably
no!
gonna rip
Don't
me apart, which is good. No,
don't do this week. This is me at my worst. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no. Do it.
no, this is fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with it. And I
Okay.
know that there were parts of the stream where I sounded uninspired, but I had to counterpoint with Blaine and disagree with him on stuff because I really think there's some valid points that the DM toolkit you should not forsake your toolkit. Use your DM toolkit; it will bring you back alive. You know.
Be hailed.
Well, I really.
No.
Who was the old fucker in Starship Troopers? He said that to the kids on Planet K, and he ended up getting killed like the 17th or 18th person. It was great. But Kat, thank you for being here for this campaign talk on Table Breakers. We'll be back next Thursday night. We haven't decided our topic yet.
Nope.
No.
Do you guys have a clue yet or no?
Not a clue.
We'll have to kick it around.
Yeah, this one here was kind of an impromptu one, and I think it caused the most "quote unquote" friction between us. But it wasn't really friction; it was not agreement, but it was good and spirited.
Well, and see, these are the type of discussions I like because we've got point counterpoint, and and then I become Switzerland. I don't understand it, but I mean it's okay. I can be Switzerland. They have nice watches.
Yeah. Connor, appreciate you being in chat. Look forward to your next couple streams, bud. I'm going through his library right now. He's pretty fun to listen to, actually.
Oh yeah.
Shatzar, thank you for being in chat, bud. And I'll talk to you in Discord here later.
Yes, and Shad, you're right. You're right. But unfortunately, this is how I swap from being an architect to an engineer. I either measure everything way too well, or I fucking just wing it. So.
Table Breakers, what counts as a dungeon and how to make them better.
Yes, that's a good. You know what? That works.
Okay, there's our topic for next week. Everybody, swing by Thursday night of next week at 7:30 p.m. or 19:30 for those of you that are DD 214 enabled. I appreciate the time that you spent with us tonight. And if you're on the rewind, I really thank you for giving us the time to explain our positions here. From Table Breakers to you, we thank you so much.
Have a great night.
Good night.